This is going to be a quick video on two of several audio amplifiers that I'm thinking about studying. First one is over a year ago we did the experimental methods in RF design audio amplifier that's on page 1.12 of EMRFD. Here's the schematic. Alright. And I built a little printed circuit board using a toner transfer and using 1/8 watt resistors, 2N3904 and one 2N3906, which is a PNP here. Built up this little circuit. It wasn't working quite right, and then AA7FO, Steve down in Tucson, gave me a couple of mods to try, and they worked pretty good. First of all, here's the schematic. Let's see, I think I have one here that came off of, yeah, here's a larger one, but I didn't do this. Someone did this for a web page called Potluck. It was started by Diz Dieter, W8DIZ, Hall of Famer in a silent key. And this is an enlarged schematic of it. And I think I've even redone some of the part numbers. But anyway, here's the mods. Do away with this 3.3K. Do away with this 100 ohm emitter resistor here. And change R6. This is going to become an emitter resistor. Change it to 68 ohms, and everything else stays the same. And if you want to experiment, if you need more current or whatever, you might lower these a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to recommend that. And I assumed here 8 ohms, but it turns out that all the speakers are 4 ohms, and I thought I was using a little, let me bring it in the picture here. I was using a little mini speaker that came out of an AM radio kit. Haven't built it, I just scavenged this part, and turns out that it is also 4 ohms. Okay, 0.5 watts max. Might probably take more than that, but I'm not going to worry about it. And then I purchased and got today from Amazon a 5-inch speaker. I wanted a bigger one. This one's good up to 100 watts, and we're not going to drive it with more than 1 watt. Okay, I believe this. There's another audio amp here that. What did I do? Oh, okay. I was talking about his web page. There's another audio amplifier that he did, which is also on that same web page, and we'll compare both. They have about the same number of parts. I think this one, the EMRFD, if you take this little LED out of here, has about 15 parts, and this one has about 18. And I didn't do anything to minimize the space here. Alright, so with the mods, this audio amp does pretty good. Now I have a signal generator here called Field Tech from China. I think it's less than $100, maybe not. I'm going to use it to feed a 600 hertz tone to the audio amp through these 2 leads here. And let me just put it on the input of this board. I like these little Arduino patch plugs. They come in handy for a lot of stuff. Alright, that's the input. 600 hertz amplitude 10 model. I better change this because it's at 4. Let me change the input here to 10 millivolts. it'll work with smaller. I've got a 12.64 volt battery. All right, and the audio amplifier will work with 9 volts to, I think, 15, maybe even higher. So first of all, I'm going to hook up the little $1 speaker, and you can hear a 600 hertz tone. Now let me crank the input up. Here's 20 millivolts, 30, 40, 50, and you can get a pretty good tone out of there, and it's loud. Let's see how low I can go here on the input. There's 5 millivolts and I can still hear it. Now let me go back to 20 just to get a good, okay, there's 20 millivolts. Now let's see what a efficient speaker will do for you. I like these little 2-pin headers for experimenting. And that's the output from the 5-inch subwoofer from Amazon. This puppy was $9.99. All right. So it's pretty good. I would show you LM386, and I will later in another video when I get more audio amps done. Now let's take the one that Dieter did, and here's the schematic. And I'll go to my web page, and I'll have to set up a page for the videos. So this is April the 6th, Sunday, Easter Sunday. So give me a day or two and I'll get this all online for you. But anyway, this thing has 4 transistors also. I recommend the 4401 and the 4403s, but you know what? Oh yeah, never mind. I've been using the 3904s, and I couldn't use the 4401 because I don't have any 4403s, and I got 1,000 of them on the plane. It should be here sometime this week, and I'll redo it and see what happens. Okay, so this is called the discrete audio amplifier, and there's not a direct link to the Potluck circuit page. There's a whole bunch of circuits there that you ought to look at and build, and I'll try to get the link out somewhere. Okay, let's input at 20 millivolts. If I was organized, I could do this back to back, but I can't. All right, power and speaker. Let's do the little $1 one. Now that is louder than the EMRFD circuit. Although Spice Simulation says that one should be louder, but whoops, I got wire sticking to the magnet. This thing's got a hefty magnet, so keep it away from your screwdrivers and wire clippers, etc. All right, now this is the 5-inch woofer, and it's got a reasonable tone. Because this will handle 100 watts, let me just crank it up. Here we go. This is 20 millivolts through this W8DIZ amplifier. Here's 30. Here's 40. Here's 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. There's a 1/10 of a volt. That is way too loud. There's 10 millivolts. You can still hear it. I don't know how the camera's going to do sound-wise, but one pretty nice speaker, and this little audio amp is the one I'm going to use. I've got an all transistor 20-meter transceiver that I'm working on, and I've got the receiver going and I'm going to work on the transmitter, but I had to wait on the 4403s and I got to do a board layout. So I'm busy and I'm way behind. I got behind because of personal health issues, and we got those fixed, so I should be able to be back at it. Now, I can show you one thing here. No, we're already 10 minutes into this video. Also, another thing, going back to the EMR-FD amplifier, chapter 1, when Steve recommended the mods, one of the things I like about the toner transfer, it doesn't take me too long. It's a little extra, 30 minutes or an hour's worth of work to do that over Manhattan. But if I wanted to modify or change parts, it was real easy. I used my little desolder tool, Japanese Hako, and I just quickly remove the solder and pull the parts out. I just put a jumper in here for the 2 resistors we took out, yanked the 680 out of there and put a 68 ohm in there, and we're up and running. Also, one of the things about the EMR-FD, I've got this diode in series here, so that drops the voltage a volt and a half maybe, or something like that. If I short this out, and I may try that, see maybe the extra 1 or 2 volts may put it on par with the W8DIZ amp. So that's what I'm doing, and I've also done one other thing. I did another DC receiver, and I'll do a video on it tomorrow. Doug Hendricks wanted something, and I did this. This is the board for the receiver. I did this last year, February of last year, and I had a little crystal oscillator in here, the Colpitts, instead of being tunable, and this is based on a op-amp CA3028A, a differential amplifier. I use that for a mixer, and I still got the LM386 here, and it doesn't generate too much audio out, but it works okay for headphones. So build this audio amplifier, build this one, experiment with it with those mods, take out those 2 resistors and change that 3rd resistor, and then I'll put on my webpage a link to or description of this little audio amp. In fact, kitsandparts.com, go and look at their kits, and they've got an audio amplifier. Mike modified it a little bit and sells a kit for $8. So you can buy the thing as a kit and experiment with it that way. Okay, I got 14 minutes and gotta quit. So, introduction to audio amps. I've got a couple of more. One on the potluck circuit page, and a couple more out of some books. So that's it. Again, do some likes, and hopefully I can catch up here, and I'm going to do some more work on my webpage. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this little side excursion into audio amplifiers. Also, on the simulation, these things are flat up to 10K or 10 kilohertz or higher, so you could use them for stereo music, etc., but that's not what we're doing.